You're back for another video for me. This time it's Whilton on the Zulu layout. Now I've got a bit more creative on the arrows. They probably won't make sense. But anyway, so start the track. You want a nice wide entry into turn 1. You want to run as much as the left hand curve as possible whilst keeping to the left hand side of the track on the exit of it. You'll see that by the blue lines coming up. The blue lines are what you should be aiming to stay within. You follow the line to the left, keeping towards the white line, then to open up the steering and go right. This bit here for drivers who have a bit more experience is a flat with maybe a slight lift depending on the apex. Get as close to the inside curb as you can and then open up the steering nice and wide to carry your speed. You'll be able to see this from this video. I carry a lot more speed than the driver ahead, which allows me to overtake him. Going up towards Christmas, you want to keep the run as short as possible, so keep to the right hand side. Even though I'm overtaking this guy, I would still personally be doing this line up here, just to keep the distance shorter. Now, the driver on the left, he's trying to duck. That's not how you duck. You get lower. Bring your shoulders forward, get lower. So obviously my line up into Christmas is going to be compromised, so there's going to be 2 sets of arrows. There's going to be a yellow arrow for when you're overtaken and a green arrow for your regular racing line. Now coming up to Christmas, you'll see the marshal point on the left hand side. You want to start braking just before you get to that. As you can see from the yellow line, because I'm overtaking, I'm going to squeeze him slightly to the outside, just give him less room to work with. On a normal line, you'd stay out wide. This is a mid-corner apex. You don't really want to run the inside curb because it will unsettle you and throw you to the outside. Obviously, where my corner has been compromised by overtaking, I do drift out a bit wider. But the Kart ahead with the orange lid is about roughly where you actually want to be if you're not overtaking. Now that's the only thing you want to look at from the guy ahead with the orange lid. On the left, you want to run as much of the curb as you can. Try not to go any further wide than a third over the track. Run the curb, open the steering out. Go to the outside. Now normally you'd run left here, all the way to the left hand side to open out the steering for Zulu. Once again, I've been compromised by overtaking someone, so I'll go on the yellow line while still moving outwards to compromise the person I'm overtaking's line. Braking point is just before it, and as you can see on the green line it'd be a lot later turn in, but obviously with the overtaking you have to be a bit narrower. When you get it stopped, you want to run, even whilst overtaking, you want to run as much of this curb as you can because it's nice and flat. Drift out to the outside and then that'll stop the person who you just overtaken from coming back on you. Then once you get around that corner, you want to swing back to the right again to open up the angle for a left-hander. The left-hander, you want to avoid the curbs, but follow it around. You'll see what I mean here. So you follow it around, you can see you can make a straight line from curb 1 to curb 2. So you'll come here, and you can see you're aiming straight at curb 2, the right-hander of Zulu. Once you've got through the first left of Zulu, you run straight towards the second one and you take as much curb as you can. If the tyres are there, brush against them. If the tyres aren't there, go as far over as you can. Follow the curb round slightly to the right, as you can see from my steering angle, and then go left. The left on this curb here is, once again, use as much as you can depending on the track limits which JV set out. You can keep your foot planted. Open up the steering for the best exit. Going up towards the middle, straight towards the boot, which is probably the most important part of the whole track, because from the boot all the way up to Christmas, in theory, you shouldn't be braking. You might lift off the throttle a couple of times, but you won't be braking, so this is key here. So coming up to the boot, you can see the marshal post on the right hand side. Use that as your reference point. You'll also see a slight old style curb on the right as well. You want to brake about kart lengths before you get to that. You turn in nice and late and run as much of the curb as possible. On this video I miss slightly, don't take as much as I wanted to, which then compromises me. But you'll see from the video here, I'm going to put some blue lines out, you want to be aiming no more than the middle of the track to the pit lane dotted lines on the left hand side. I just missed it, so that's my fault there. So you want to come around here, you don't want to go further than half a track, maybe 2/3 at absolute most. From here on you should be flat on the throttle now until Zulu. Now I know some people run all the way to the outside line here. I'm not miles off it, but you don't want to, it just makes the track a lot longer. Coming towards the final corner is the monster curb here. You'll really want to stay off the monster curb because that will affect you all the way up to Zulu. That'll affect you all the way up to Christmas corner. So you can see the curb in the left. Wait until you get halfway down the curb on the left, and then a nice right hand sharp turn in, just to get the kart rotated. You can see that I've created my own oversteer, so I've had to correct it, but just missing the curb. Open out the steering, and basically you're good to go. That's a lap at Whilton Mill. Now I'm going to play it in full speed here. Hopefully it's helped. I know I've included more arrows for some reason, and my voice is still very monotone and boring. I hear it over the radio when I do the calls. Have fun. Bye.